can't believe he did that. I thought, are you out of your mind? Like, have you seen the news about Albania in the 91 or 97? It's like, you don't know if you're getting kidnapped. You don't know anyone there. Why are you going there? And he's like, I really have a good feeling about this girl, and I want to see her in person. Yeah, like, I guess like most of the people, they come here in different ways. Mine was a little bit different than the others. I think I mentioned it.
Yes.
So I'll tell a soap opera story of mine. So I'm guessing you guys are all familiar with the 30-60-90-day show.
Yep.
So kind of like my story was like that. Like, I was in Albania. I'm just thinking like I'm graduating and this was my future. And next thing I know, I met someone online, and I just thought we were friends, and we're just like talking. He was American. He had some Albanian friends. So I guess like we had that connection. Like he already knew a little bit about the culture, and we just like, like we're talking, and then one thing led to another. I was talking on Skype at 11 o'clock in Albania, and like not even my door because I didn't have Wi-Fi. We're not rich, but I would go to a internet cafe, they call it, and basically it's like a place that you go and you can use internet, like paid per hour. And I'll go there at 11 to like 12 or 1 o'clock at night, because here was 5 p.m. and that's where the guy was finishing his work. So I guess like one thing led to another, but I never thought that I would ever fall in love or have a distant relationship. And my current husband, surprise, he actually flew to Albania. And I remember his dad, he told me later that, I can't believe he did that. I thought, are you out of your mind? Like, have you seen the news about Albania in the 91 or 97? It's like, you don't know if you're getting kidnapped. You don't know anyone there. Why are you going there? And he's like, I really have a good feeling about this girl, and I want to see her in person. But at the time, he didn't tell me that he was coming to, like, for me. He said that he made the story like, oh, my company is sending me for potential investment in Albania. And I was basically translating him. Like, I was doing a job. But I was not getting paid really good because like we were not really doing a lot of work. We were more like hanging out. And I kind of like slowly realized, I'm like, okay, he came for me. But I just like, I was so like, as Albanians, we have, we're very attached to people. We show so much love. But then when it comes to love relationship, we have this barrier because we don't want to get hurt. Things have happened in the past. And I guess like I had this intuition. I'm like, this is the guy of my dreams. Like, it wasn't about like, the guy, the white horse that you see in the dream, the prince, but more about like, I can see him being the dad of my kids one day. I can see him being my future husband and like building something together. But I never thought that would be anything other than just what it was. And he actually came again in a few months and proposed me in front of my parents, which I had to translate at the same time. So, and, he didn't have a ring because it was so spontaneous that I'm like, I didn't marry you for the ring. But yeah, that was basically the reason I came here. And people think maybe I had it easier. The only thing that I had it easier is that I had somebody, I didn't came alone. I had somebody that already had a full-time job, but we all had to struggle as everybody else. I right away went to school here. I was doing internships and working volunteer part-time because all the people in my school, they were not even allowed to drink yet. They were not even 21. And my peers already had started working. Here I am reliving and starting my life from scratch. So that was, I guess, like another journey that led me to be now, because by me going to school, it's not that I learned so much about marketing that I can apply today in my business, to be honest, because I feel books are a little bit outdated, especially with the social media marketing part. But it led me to be part of different communities or organizations. So I didn't feel a stranger, because everybody, when they come to US, have a culture shock. Unfortunately. And because of that, you feel a stranger. And then you stay here, you live here for many years, and then you go back home to Albania, you feel a stranger there. Because you haven't been there, you haven't been home. So we feel like this type of people that we don't have a home, whether here or there. But now I think I'm the state that I feel this is my home. And when I go to Albania, like, Albania has a special place in my heart. But I feel like I'm the tourist when I go there. There's always changes and constructions and buildings and new things developed in Albania that I honestly feel like a tourist in my own country, my home country in a way.
That's so awesome. Oh my, I love that story. That's how you met your husband, because that's like 90 day fiance. 60, 90 day fiance is like the same.
It was scary leaving everything behind, and I wasn't rich, so it's not that I came here. My husband wasn't rich, so I didn't came here like, oh my God, I'll have this perfect life. But it was scary because I'm like, what if he maybe has another family and he didn't tell me about it? I mean, I couldn't see. I didn't know anybody here. Or what if like we don't get along? And I remember my parents at the time, they sneaked like $1,000 on me, and they're like, in case it doesn't work out, take the next flight. And I'm like, I always joke with my husband to this. I'm like, I still have $1,000. He's like, yeah, the tickets are high, honey, inflation.
My God.
But yeah,
that is hilarious. Well, I mean, it's a deep, leap in faith to trust somebody like
think
that.
Intuition.
Yeah,
I had
too.
intuition. Like there was nothing about him that made me not trust him or feel like he was lying to me, and he never lied to me. So that was the other part too.
I love that, and I mean, I love that also too, because it's very untraditional for an Albanian woman to marry outside of.
Oh yeah.
So I want to dive into Albanian culture a little bit for those who aren't familiar, right? Like they've seen us, they know, anyone that I mention Albanian, they're like, oh, you're Albanian. We're known to be crazy. We're known to be in a good way, right? Like, because they'll think about automatically like the Albanians in New York, or the movie Taken, or like anything like that. And it's like, and also too, like Albanians now are showing up big time on a world platform. You have 𝗘𝗀𝗲𝗃, Rita Ora, Bibi Reja,
like so many.
Beber Reja, I should say. Like those are 3 huge Albanian artists that everyone's like, I didn't know that they were Albanian. And I'm like, there's a creativity about our people. So I want to dive into the culture a little bit. And since you grew up there too, because for me, I left when I was 6 months old. Yeah. My parents literally, as soon as I was born, we were here for 6 months, and they fled to Italy. We went to Rome. And I lived there till I was 5, and I would go back and forth a little bit. So I didn't have the privilege of growing up there, right? So kind of like, talk a little bit about the culture and like how we are as a people, right? And like our
to explain
kind of
why we're crazy, basically.
Correct.
I mean, other than the history and what happened, I feel like for people to understand Albania, they have to understand that we were based in dictatorship for so many years. Like we couldn't listen to radio or watch TV, or most of us didn't have TV or radio. So our culture was just like almost stolen. Like we would like see what Italians are doing, we would like try to imitate it. What Greek are wearing, and we try to imitate it. Because of it, I feel like a lot of like, especially our parents' generation, they're still a bit with that dictatorship, communism mentality, because that's how they were brainwashed in a way. That's what they knew. Right. So it took many years, I feel, because I compare also my parents from how they were back in the day in Albania. They were so old-fashioned, very fanatics, like girls are not supposed to go out, girls are not supposed to go party, you're not supposed to like have a boyfriend. So that's why I couldn't introduce at that time, my date, because I'm like, oh no, you don't understand. Like, you have to be serious with me and actually marry me for me to introduce you to my parents. I cannot just introduce you like people introduce you like, hey mom, this is my boyfriend. I'm like, no, you can. But it's just like everything worked out. So I think like some of the things in the Albanian culture is like we're very community based. It's hard for me to explain it because there's a lot of like different, like Italians are usually family oriented, but literally like everything that happens, everybody knows. Because we really care so much, we also love to gossip. So if something happened to one of my cousins, not even 30 minutes, I'm not even joking, not even 30 minutes, all the other aunts and cousins know. Because the word spreads like, oh my God, did you hear what happened to Pamela? Or did you hear what happened? So because we care so much, but also we want to know what's going on in your life, to the point that sometimes for Americans might be a little bit like, if they're like, oh, like I'm independent, like nobody tells me what to do. There's no such thing that nobody tells me what to do. My parents right now live with me, and I swear to God, I feel like I'm still in high school because they don't care that that's my house. I'm in my own house, right? They don't care. They're like, well, you're going to listen to what I have to say, and I'm going to tell you this way, you're going to do it that way, because that's how they were brought up. So a lot of Albanians, I feel, when they come to another country, they really feel a bit like liberated, because they're like, I can be and do whatever I want. Right. So maybe that's why we come up a little bit crazy
Yep.
because like they really were liberated. They're like, oh, like I don't have my family now
Yeah.
to like constrict me of doing something, be somebody, but still they have that family issue. Like a lot of people think like, oh, you came to US, you had, maybe you got the American dream, maybe you got a great job, or you had a successful business, like congrats, you achieved it. What people don't realize is that immigrants, when they come here, even if they're developing and they have a great life and they have a lot of money, they still have people back home that they have to help.
Right.
And usually in American culture that doesn't happen. Like if kids are out of
Yeah.
college, bye-bye, nobody really cares what
yeah.
you're doing. But we still care. We still try to help our family or friends, or if somebody's, you know, in a certain struggle or health-wise, we'll help you money-wise. And that's why they're always so stressed. That's why we always have that middle line, because we're always angry and stressed, because it's not just us.
Yeah.
It's the entire community that we're supporting and we're helping. And this is something that people sometimes don't realize.
Right.
They feel that maybe we're like too direct or we're too in people's business, because we care.
Yeah.
And we want to be, and also we love gossip, but we want to be in the business because we really
Yeah.
care. And how can I help you if I don't know what's going on in your life?
Right.
And I think this is something so special about Albanian culture, that there's a reason why most of my closest friends are either Albanians, Greek, or some type of European or Balkan, because we
Right.
get it. We're so like oriented, like we don't have that barrier. We
Right.
get into the details and like the nitty-gritty things. So I know what's going on with my friend. Whereas like with just an American that has been here for, they're very different. So they don't like, we can be best friends, but we cannot be really, really good friends because they always have that barrier to not get personal, to not like be, I guess, like honest with themselves and just share what actually is going on in their
Right.
life, because nobody wants to be vulnerable, right?
Right.
We love to be vulnerable. Always love drama. So if you're having a struggle, well, I'll be there with you. I'll listen. I'll call again, because it's not just like, oh, we like to gossip, but like I need to be there, because it's almost like we live off drama. We've been literally years and years, like countries have invaded us for
Yeah.
generations, that now like it's like we're Albanians. We have to stick to one another. So that's why when you know some Albanians, guess what? You'll know all the other Albanians in Massachusetts, and
Yes.
vice versa.
It's so true. It's so true. But the biggest thing is like we're very much like a what do they call it? There's individualistic culture, and then there's more of like a family-oriented type of culture. And it's like that's where we were, because if you look at all of our invasions and all the things, Albanians had to stick together in order to survive, right? Without your mom opening those doors to those refugees, they wouldn't have survived. Right.
True.
And it's like, and also when I came here to the United States, my parents won the visa lottery. My brother was a newborn. I was 5 years old. And we had an Albanian family that I opened their doors that had a 2-bedroom house. And there was already 4 of them there.
Yeah.
And they opened the doors. So what I like to say is Albanians always open the doors for everybody. And that's such a beautiful thing. Like you said, you know, to be in this kind of family type of.
Like sticking for one another in a way.
Yeah.
And I feel like the beautiful thing is, there's like a lot of Albanians that feel like that maybe certain ways of our culture, they see the negative side. They're like, well, there's always interest. Like nobody just opens the doors. But you know, like it's not that we can generalize or stereotype an entire community.
Right.
The people that didn't open the doors are just people that just don't care. They're selfish. It's
Right.
not that they're Albanians don't care.
Yeah.
But there's so many people that I know, and I'm talking about like different, you know, New York or Massachusetts, that literally they open doors and live strangers, live in their like home for months until they can, you know,
Be on their feet.
find a job. Because people don't realize when somebody comes here, it takes like a couple months just for you to get papers. You cannot even open a bank account. You cannot get a driver license. So how are you even supposed to find a job without a green card? Because it takes 2 months for the papers.
Right.
So you need a family to support you for like a month or two, just so you can at least find a job. And what if the people that don't even know the language, like that is a different struggle.
Yeah.
Or if you had family, like I'm blessed that when I came here, I didn't have kids, so it was just me and my husband. But I see so many families struggling just because they came here and they don't even have time to develop themselves or really like get experience, because they're like struggling day by day, like living check by check. And that's where I guess like me and you come in the entrepreneurship, that I'm like, you can do it. It's just you have to like set your day or your week in a way. They're like, okay, I'm working this to give me income, and then this is the time that I have that I'm going to like develop myself. I'm learning something new. I'm learning a skill. I'm volunteering. I'm opening a blog, whatever it might be. But you cannot give up just because you think like, oh, life sucks.
Right.
Because there's so many like successful entrepreneurs that we know that their life sucked and they started from somewhere, and then you just keep going and just never stop meeting people that you think you can learn from them. They'll be there when you need them the most, and just like our good friends, be there for them, because then doors start opening. But when you're like just like in a way independent and you never have a community, you don't have a support, and you think like nobody will help you, so you never ask anybody for help, you're going to have a lot of closed doors. And that's what I tell people. I'm like, never stop asking questions, asking for help, because you'll be surprised who can help you.